Welcome to another episode of Shooting the Shit with literary agents Carly Waters and CeCe Lyra, where we dissect publishing gossip, discuss book industry trends, and the overall state of the book business. If you've ever wanted to grab a coffee with two literary agents, grab your mug and pull up a chair. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of us shooting the shit. We're starting to get into the groove of what can we gossip about? What can we talk about? I also feel like we started on such a high with like the big reveal of the show and then CeCe's job move. And now we have to like settle into the groove of the show a little bit. So I hope it will continue to be as juicy as possible as we go, but we will find out.
Well, now our listeners will be like, no, you tell us all the time on Books with Hooks that after you escalated the tension needs to keep rising. So we're just going to have to get creative.
I know, we're going to have to tip over some dominoes. But yeah, we have lots of fun things to talk about. Yeah.
Speaking of dominoes, what are you working on?
Oh gosh. So yeah, this whole like quiet summer thing, so fun for everybody having a quiet summer. No, it's good. I like being busy. It's nice to kind of have a bit of a work-life balance, but I have lots of fun things I'm working on. In the middle of 3 contracts. I'm in the middle of a TV film deal. I'm hopefully going to announce these 3 book deals really soon, which is great. And I just made a list of the 5 books that I'm going to be pitching kind of out of the gate in the fall. So yeah, I said like what they're about over to our foreign rights manager, and she sent me back a fire emoji. So I was like, "Thank you. I needed that little like pump me up." So I'm good.
That's exciting. And we know how high the bar is, so you should be very happy about the fire emoji. Yeah, I am discussing book launches with clients. I have 2 books coming out on the same day in November. Same day. I don't know why they do this to me. And reviewing contracts too. I'm in all the Zoom calls. I don't know what it is about moving agencies that just makes people be like, hey, let's catch up, which is great. Like, it's so great, but it's everyone wanting to catch up at the same time. Not a complaint, but it definitely keeps me busy. And I'm doing an Instagram live with Charisse Fisher, who's at my agency. We're doing an Instagram live on Thursday, and Charisse is closed to queries. So this is really a cool opportunity for people to get her take on stories, hooks, and stuff. If anyone wants to listen to the live, check out the WSA Instagram. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about hooks. I've also been scouting a lot for nonfiction. I have so many book ideas, and I'm like, let me find the people who can write these books. So that takes up a lot of time too. It's fun time, but it's also time consuming.
Yeah, it's also hard because it's like that perfect alchemy, right? Where it's like, you can have this great idea. Yeah. I don't know if you remember, CeCe, but when you and I were in London last summer, I was in some nonfiction meetings, like talking about this idea, and I still never found anybody to work on that idea.
I remember the idea. So, it's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, I want to read that book. Can you please get on it?
I know, I'm working on it. So yeah, it's hard to like, you can have the idea as the agent. I don't write the books, right? Yeah. One of the books I'm actually pitching this fall, and obviously when this all comes together in a larger way, it will be very exciting and I can talk about it when it happens. But this author came to me via referral, and she had a huge platform, and we're like, okay, what is this idea going to be? What are we going to work on with you, right? You have this great platform, incredible business.
I remember which one it is.
She sent me over all of this material, and so I was kind of like, ooh, now I get to be the sleuth of like, okay, she built this brand, has all this incredible stuff happening with her business, and then they come to me with all of this juicy material, and I get to be like, okay, where's the book in this? Clearly you are an incredible person, you're a great teacher. Again, you built something. So how can I, as the agent, get in there with my little like toolkit? I don't know. I felt like a forensic, scavenger of like, oh, I get to like dissect all of this, get in here. What's the book? And so I'm the one that kind of came up with the hook, and I pitched the hook to her. Okay, this is what you sent me. This is something you said. This is a line from an interview that you did. Can you build this out into a book? And she did. And so she built out this like incredible proposal. Yay. It's coming together so well. So it's one of those complete perfect alignment things where obviously it's all her, right? All I did was pick at this and be like, there's something here, right? How can we build this out? She built it out into this great proposal. So we're going on submission with it. Fire emoji from my foreign rights manager. So I'm really, really excited. I feel like the feeling is, and I might use some sports analogies, so I'm going to apologize to CeCe in advance. Sports analogies being this feeling of like in August. So we don't really sub things in August. I mean, some people do. And again, that's totally fine. But most people kind of like take a little pause in the summer, kind of go out on sub in the fall with their books. And so I feel like, using my sports analogies, where as an athlete before a race, that you're just like taper down, right? You don't like go hard right until race day. It's like, okay, you taper down so that you recover, build some energy, and then you're really ready to go, right? It's like, I don't know if anybody watches like rodeos, right? They have the horses or whatever they're, the bulls, and their little like corrals, and then the cowboy gets on top, and then they're like waiting, and then they open the corral, and then the cowboy jumps up and does their little rodeo. That's how I feel. I feel like a little cowboy at a rodeo, wait for my little gate to open so I can do my little rodeo.
I love that. I love that analogy. It's, yes, there is a CeCe version of that. So right before Easter, you're going to eat a lot of chocolate during Easter. So, you might not have 8 cookies a day right before Easter. You might only have 5, and that's okay. A girl can live with 5 cookies.
Yeah, because you gotta like build up the energy to get excited about your next cookie.
Exactly, for special Easter chocolate. So it is the same. Speaking of like being excited about events, what are you going to be doing in terms of events this fall?
Yeah, I was actually working on a little Instagram post.
We have one we're doing together. Yeah.
I know. It's going to be great. So we have tons of fun things going on. CeCe and I are both going to be at the AALA People in Publishing Conference. That one's coming up right away in September.
Or as insiders call it, PopCon.
PopCon.
I feel like it sounds like popcorn, but it's PopCon. Yeah. Gotta be dramatic.
So we're not speaking at it, but we are attending it. So other publishing folks, if you're listening to this, CeCe and I will be there. We're going to go for the week. We're going to do our little meeting-y things with our clients and editors. CeCe and I will try and see each other and hang out. So I'm doing People in Publishing, PopCon, the Muslim Literary Festival. I'm doing a virtual event with them in October. I am going to DFW Con, which is in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas area. I'm going to be doing the Sunday keynote, which I'm very excited about. I haven't done a keynote in a couple of years. I love keynotes. Anybody who, runs writers conferences and needs keynotes, I love doing keynotes. I like building in little analogies and metaphors for life and how that kind of translates to writing and how we build that out into storytelling. So I'm a huge keynote junkie. So anybody that needs keynotes, definitely ping me because I love doing them. And then in Ottawa, where I live, I'm doing the Ottawa Writers Festival. I recently joined the board of the festival. I don't think I announced that yet. I joined the board of the Ottawa Writers Festival. So I am participating in kind of building out where they're going. They've been around for, I think, 30 years. So I'm definitely not new to the scene, but I'm really excited to join the board in their next kind of growth phase of how they're going to run the festival. So that runs pretty much through the fall, October through November. And that's me. CeCe, where are you headed this fall?
That's exciting. So before our conference, I'm now taking credit for the whole conference. Before PopCon, I have actually an event on September 12th that's called The Only Latinx in the Room, How to Advocate for Latinx Stories. And Melanie Iglesias Perez will speak at it. So will other very important people, but I have a book with Mel, so I wanted to go there and support her. And it's a networking opportunity. And similar to PopCon, by the way, listeners, we should make this really clear. PopCon is only for publishing professionals. So it is not a writer's conference. If you are a writer and you're like, I want to go, I'm sorry, you can't. It's only for publishing professionals. But there are other lovely conferences that you can go to. We'll talk about that later.
Is the Latinx Writers Conference in New York? Where are you going for that one? Where is that one?
Yeah. It's also in the city. It's on September 12th. And it's part of a larger writers conference, but this event is just for publishing professionals. So again, not open to writers. But then after this event, there's like a networking, kind of like, I think it's like a party, like a cocktail, I don't know, something like that. And then writers are encouraged to attend that one. So there will be an opportunity for me to meet writers, which I'm excited about. So I have that on September 12th. And then again, the PopCon, when is PopCon? September 18th? I forget.
I want to say 17th?
Yeah, I don't know. That week.
Let me pull up my calendar.
Yeah, you're right. 17. It's 17. No, it's 17
of September. Yeah.
And then I'm going to the Kauai Writers Conference in November. There's also like a really cool event that I'm so excited to be able to talk about, but I'm not allowed to talk about yet. In October, I will tell you, Carly, once we stop recording, but I'm not allowed to announce it in our podcast yet. But maybe next time I will. In October, I'm very excited. Early October, there's a very cool event.
All right. Well, you're building us lots of suspense, but yeah, lots of fun things coming up. The fall, as you guys know, is a very busy time. There's also Frankfurt Book Fair, right? There's like all these other conferences going on, virtual stuff. And then we also have to do our day jobs. In between all of this, I am also going to LA in November to pitch some TV film projects for adaptation and meet with the co-agents, things like that. So it will be busy. CeCe and I will try to schedule these calls between all of these different travel events. Okay, so sticking on the theme of writers' conferences and such. So somebody sent in this question, and you guys know how I feel about your questions. If you want your question to be featured on the show, send us a good question. I don't know how else to say it. So this person sent in a great question at Lauren Cocker. She said, I'd love to hear you shoot the shit on writing conferences, specifically agent one-on-ones. Do agents enjoy them or secretly hate them? What are the expectations of writers? Thank you. This is a great question because it's so hard to kind of get at the nuance of writers' conferences. They are all different. Everyone has a completely different vibe and energy. I've been to some which are very kind of like small and intimate. I've been to some that are like huge. I feel like a huge festival. I've been to some that are really well run. I've been to some that are not very well run. So yeah, it's hard to shoot the shit. It's actually fun to shoot the shit because there are so many different stories and different scenarios that we can talk about. But yeah, CeCe, do you want to give your high level take, or where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the one-on-ones? Do we hate them? Yeah, where do you want to start?
Yeah, I do think we should start with the one-on-ones, but I
Okay.
have to be honest, I don't think that we can look at that in isolation. Like it is a part of
Yeah.
the larger conference, so we will zoom out. So I do not hate them at all, and I don't think most agents do, or else I don't think we would do them. I do think like everything in life, like every experience in life, especially experiences that are intense, these one-on-ones are typically intense. So if you've never been to a writer's conference, picture a room, picture a desk, agents are sitting at their desk, and every so often the person in front of us changes, right? And it could be like a 10-minute meeting, it could be a 3-minute meeting. I believe there's a conference that's like a 1-minute meeting or something. I don't know. This depends on the
Mm-hmm.
conference, but it's essentially a situation where agents are meeting with people and it's like back to back meetings where writers get to tell us about their books. I enjoy the energy that comes with being around book people. I'm a huge introvert, but I discovered this about myself when I attended the London Book Fair for the first and only time I've ever been. And I'm like, book people don't drain me in the same way. Like, I still need my alone time, but I enjoy being around book people. I enjoy book energy. I enjoy talking about stories. What I love is meeting with someone who knows what their story is about, is excited to talk to me about their story, and hopefully isn't too nervous. I completely understand being nervous, but I'm always like, it's all good. It's safe. You're comfortable. I promise you're okay. Sometimes, too, I've met with writers who aren't super sure about their stories yet, and they're honest about that. And that's great too, because what I like is a compatibility between what you've put into something and what you're expecting out of it. I think that's key. What to me is sometimes frustrating about these one-on-ones, it comes down to two things. One, it's the organization. Some conferences I will never go again because it's so disorganized. Like no one's keeping time. It's very anxious. I feel like the writers aren't getting proper attention. I'm not getting what I need to get, which is like to learn about their story. And so organization really matters, and going to a conference that's well organized is super important. The other thing I don't love too is, sometimes I once had someone, I'll never forget this. I once had someone sit down in front of me and say, I've pitched to you before. I'm here to pitch to you again. I won't take no for an answer. And I had to tell them, like, very candidly, I know that in the business world, sometimes we're encouraged to practice a level of insistence that can be interpreted as determination. But for publishing, this is not going to serve you well. So I'm being
It
candid with
lacks
you.
self-awareness, let's just say. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I think that it comes from the fact that there are instances in the business world where saying,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking no for an answer can be really empowering and that can show ambition. In publishing, it doesn't. Like, you need to know how to hear no and pivot and work on something else. Now, if they had come to me and said, I have a new story and I really want you to like that one, that's great. Like, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But if I've already said no to something, I'm not going to not say no again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a great point. Yeah, I feel like there's so many different directions to go in this. Okay, I'll focus on the one-on-ones for a sec. I will say, it's kind of one of those things where I am generally excited about them because if an agent is there, their goal is to find something. Agents don't go to conference just to be like, I'm just going to hang out in the corner, or I'm going to choose not to socialize, or I don't know. Like the whole point, if anybody was to accept an invitation to go to a conference, it's because they want to be there, meaning they want to
Mhm.
sign clients, they want to take these meetings. And so there is a goal. It's not that we think we're going to sign clients everywhere we go, but there is an expectation that we're hopeful that we will see something that we like and something that is interesting. The best one-on-ones, in my opinion, are sometimes those really chatty ones where they're just like, it's not quite ready yet. I was hoping that it was going to be ready, but it's not. And I really, really just want to pick your brain, because I always tell people, don't ever cancel. If you set that
Mhm.
meeting aside and you want to go and you paid extra for it, or you're just, it's a competitive spot to get, just come and ask me any questions. I like those chatty ones, because I think it does a lot for it can do a lot for people's self-esteem. It can answer a lot of questions. We can debunk myths. And then they can just also just understand that agents are people, right? Because they kind of, in
Yeah.
general, speaking very
Mhm.
generally, they hold us up on this pedestal of like, these agents are the gatekeepers. They're the ones that are standing between me and what I want, which is, this published book. And we really are just the people in the middle, right? We are middle people, but we're incredibly educated and talented middle people that can, again, help serve you in your career. Yeah, so I enjoy them. I don't hate them. They can be very long. We can be very tired. If we have a little bit of a dazed look in our eyes and are constantly looking for the Diet Coke or the coffee machine, that's just because we need some energy to keep going. But yeah, I would never say that I hate them. I've definitely signed clients from them. Actually, one of the book deals that I'm working on right now, I found this person not from this book, but signed them based on something that they had pitched me in person. And now we're selling a book for them like years and years later. So you can form these connections that can turn into something which are everlasting, and kind of can build into those actual client relationships. So definitely not hate. I would say if we are there, we are not hating on it. What are the expectations of writers? That's a much larger question, because I think you're framing them again specifically in terms of one-on-ones. What are the expectations of writers in a one-on-one? Generally, the expectation is that you will have a finished manuscript. And I know I just said that it's okay if you don't. I've already talked about that. But the expectation is you're going to pitch us a finished manuscript, because one of the things that happens is if a writer sits down and they pitch me this great book and then they don't have it done, I'll be like, oh, okay, well, send it to me when you're ready, I guess. And again, that's fine. So, just letting us know that it's not ready if it isn't ready is fine. Other expectations, like I think some writers think that like you have to have a business card or like bookmarks and you have to hand me, a lot of people want to hand me something. I don't know if you feel like this, CeCe. They're always like, take this, right? It's like a pamphlet, it's a bookmark, it's a
It
business
happens
card. It's
all
like
the
something
time.
about,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, what is this urge to send me home with
Yeah.
something, right? Like the best thing you can send me home with is the desire for me to want to read your book. That's what
Yes.
you should be sending me home with. You don't have to send me home with a bookmark, guys. Like, come on. I appreciate you guys keeping staples in business, but yeah, we need to focus on the story, and that's what stays with me. One of the things I will say, like, how can you elevate? I think they're probably trying to get at like, how do you elevate this experience a little bit? One of the things that I do like is kind of a combination of, if you're going to be pitching me at the conference, either come up to me beforehand at the cocktails or sit with me at a meal and just do the whole like, sitting around the table together, chit chat, and then just say, hey, I'm going to pitch you later, looking forward to it. And then walk away. Don't do the pitch there, because the pitch is for the pitch. But, you can build a little rapport beforehand. Or pitch me, say, it's in the morning, and then come sit with me at lunch after, right? Like you can double down on building that rapport. You don't have to be like, oh, I can only talk to her in the pitch sessions, because again, if we're at a lunch, if we're at a cocktail hour, if we're at a networking event, we are there to work and chat. So
Hmm.
I suggest like a formal and an informal, right? Like do the pitch meeting, but find me also in an appropriate informal setting, so that we can, yeah, just kind of build that rapport a little bit. That's always a nice thing to do. Yeah, CeCe, do you have any other tips?
Yeah. I think one of the central questions, I'm interpreting this, but I think when Lauren and other people send in questions like this one, they're saying, hey, if you as an agent have a slush pile, right? You have your query inbox open. What advantage is there to an in-person meeting? And I think that having that clear expectation going in of what that in-person meeting can and can't do for you is also super important to make the experience better for the agent. We want to work with realistic people, but also for yourself, the writer. I think that for me, I will look at every query you send me. And so you absolutely do not have to attend a conference to meet with me. I would never do that. And I don't think a serious agent ever would. That being said, like so many things in life, there is something special about meeting with someone and talking to them and seeing their face and hearing their voice and feeling their energy. It's so much of life is about energy. And so, of course, if you want to and you're able to, because I also know it's a big time and financial investment for people, but if you're able to, it's always a plus if you're excited about it and prepared for it. Because it's not going to make me like your story more, right? Like that will not happen. But
No.
it will make me read your story faster. Like just being honest here, right? Because you will have made me curious in person, and I'm like, I'm gonna follow my curiosity. Another thing too is for me as an agent, whenever I'm offering representation, we call them beauty contests in the publishing industry. So when two agents offer on something, it's a beauty contest between those two agents. And we call them beauty contests because agents don't pay writers money. So there's no financial incentive to go with one agent versus another. It's not like, one offer is larger than the other, which is the case when publishers make multiple offers. So with agents, beauty comes from the fact that it's all your personality, like, why do I want to work with this person and not that person? And I think that if someone met me in person and got a sense for my energy, they will know whether they want to work with me or not. And if the answer is yes, then I will have a competitive advantage. So
Mm-hmm.
selfishly, writers' conferences are also about giving agents competitive advantages, because when we
Mm-hmm.
are in a competitive situation, and that happens more often than you guys might think, then it could be like, well, hopefully an author will say, yes, this other agent's really awesome. Hey, I met with CeCe and I just vibe with her and I want to work with someone who I vibe with. And that will be the cherry on top. The other agent might also be great. So it's also a selfish, strategic decision on
Yeah.
my part to get to know writers like that.
Yeah. And I also think, like, to build on that, it's also a brand building exercise for us, right? Because that author could hear you on a panel or go to one of your workshops and be like, oh, that person's really smart. They're taking this to a level I didn't imagine, or whatever they said at that keynote really spoke to me. So it is a brand building exercise for us in terms of our relation to the industry and the writers that attended and things like that. So
100%. Yeah. And zooming out for the larger conference, for writers, you guys can meet other writers, build a network. And for agents, it's the same. We meet other agents, we meet editors, and we, continue to build our network. There's a lot of advantages to going to these. Like it's work, but it's also fun. I will say that for me, the conferences I struggle with are the disorganized conferences. I feel so bad saying this, but it's true. They are. Some of them are. And then also, and this is not the conference fault, this thing I'm about to say, being indoors all day, like from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., like back to back, it drives me bananas. Like I need to go out and move my body and have my mental health walk. And there's often not time for that. So one of the reasons I really like Hawaii is because the pitches are outside and you're walking and everything is outside, and there's beautiful sunshine. And you guys know I don't like the heat. It's not about the heat for me, but I cannot be indoors, like in a,
being
cloistered
pumped full of
space.
air
Like I just,
conditioning and being cold. And
yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Honestly, you know which one I'm thinking about. We're not going to say it, but like middle of
Yeah.
summer, hot
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was
There
picturing.
weren't any windows. There weren't any
No.
windows. Not even a
Yeah.
window. I'm like, I
Yeah.
am a human being. I was not
And the
born
air
for
conditioning
this.
was
Like
so cold. You go outside, you're like, are
so
we in a different
cold.
climate? I don't understand. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you have
Yeah.
to walk outside just to like practice photosynthesis. Just be like, I'm going to
Yeah.
look at the sun and hopefully. And it's like all of a sudden it's like super hot. Anyway, it is a
Yeah.
challenge for sure. But
Yeah. No, the
I
unorganized ones are brutal because I'm like,
so
what am I
bad.
even doing? Like, who's picking me
Yeah,
up
I
from the
know.
airport? What time am
I
I
know.
speaking?
I
Do you have
know.
tech? Am I going to build slides? Like, what is
Yeah,
happening?
I'm yelling because there's
Yeah.
no microphone. I don't want to
Yeah.
yell. My voice is precious. Like, I will say this though, and this was not a disorganized conference at all, but I met Carly at a conference. So, if you think about it, the reason why the two of us are chatting right now comes from a conference. And I
Yeah.
met my current boss, Wendy, also at the Kauai Writers Conference last year.
Yes.
So, conferences are influencing my life, people. I like them, and
They
for good
changed
reason.
your life. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do remember this. And from my perspective, it was a little bit different because I think this was this 20 2019 or no, was
Yeah.
this is 2017?
No, 19.
2019.
19.
Okay. Because I was pregnant at this conference.
But
And I
nobody knew.
remember, and nobody knew.
Yeah.
And I just remember being
Yeah.
like, and that like
Yeah.
can't really tell people, not that publishing is a huge drinking culture, but there is like, let's grab a beer after this, happy hour, let's meet up and
Yeah.
hang out. It's not a drinking culture, let's just say. And then so all these people that I would hang out with all the time all know I love to grab a beer, have a glass of wine at the end of the day and shoot the shit, no pun intended, about the conference and meet up. And it's a social thing that we do. Anyway, so I had to go there, go to the like agent happy hour and be like, I have a dinner to go to, so I can't have a drink right now. And I felt so out of character. I didn't feel like myself, like I don't, in many ways. And then CeCe still liked me, even though I was kind of grumpy.
Loved you, became obsessed with you. The obsession started there. And I had to find out all the things about you. So, yeah, obsession.
It was because I was like acting too cool for school. I was pushing everybody away, I guess. But no, I do remember that. And then the world shut down and we didn't see each other for a
The
while.
world
And
shut
that,
down.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was in Toronto. That was a great one. So okay, yeah. So if anybody, I don't know, like we can continue to build on this conversation over the course of us shooting the shit. We can talk about the conferences once we come back from them. If you guys want to know more, but
Mhm.
any of you that have been to conferences, you kind of know what we're getting at, right? Like they're all a bit unique. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. You have to really think about what you want to get out of them, who's attending
Mhm.
them, what the caliber of them is, so you can really feel like if you're going to do it, that there's a reason to do it. I do have another question that came in. This is asked in kind of an interesting way. So you can kind of interpret this how you want, CeCe, but I will read it to you. From Eve Mitchell, 3016 on YouTube. Love the show, love the banter from two very bright, amiable, and spot on agents. One thing I've always wondered when it comes to literary agents and editors is how do they develop the skills to analyze manuscripts, figure out what works and what doesn't, and make helpful and insightful suggestions that improve the manuscript without being writers? I asked this in the most respectful and curious way, and I hope it will be addressed in an upcoming podcast. I had a little chuckle at the approach of this one. CeCe, do you want to kick us off with an answer?
Sure. I thought it was a really cool question. I appreciate it because I think embedded in this question is, I think, a understanding and opinion that in order to know how to guide a writer, you must be a writer. And I
Mm,
personally disagree. I think that that you can receive guidance from other writers, and that guidance can be really special. Hey, beta readers, we love you. Critique partners, we love you. But I actually think that the best person to guide someone on their storytelling, not their writing, I will talk about that in a second, is someone who is an avid reader, B, very good at spotting patterns and understanding beats, someone who knows how to dissect a story. It's easy to spot this person, watch a TV show with them for the first time for the both of you, and they're going to be like, oh, and now the twist is going to be this. Oh, that is a red herring. Oh,
mm,
that's a clue. Like, that's what I'm talking about, right? And then another thing too is someone who's very, very business savvy, good at positioning, good at building relationships, good at knowing how to pitch, which we won't talk about so much because this person's question is specifically about the editorial component of being an agent. That's how I'm interpreting it anyway. To start, please remember that the editorial component is an extra that we do. An agent's job, it is important that everyone remember this. An agent's job is to sell your work and to manage your literary business. There are agents who are not editorial, and that is fine. These are not worse agents because of it. They might not be the agent for you, but they're still fine agents.
mhm,
What we offer editorially is an extra thing we do. We do not charge extra commission for it. We have absolutely no incentive to do it other than the fact that we believe in your story. And I think that because we just observe so many stories from inception to production, we are uniquely equipped. The fact that we are also flooded with stories makes us have the highest of bars because I am literally
mhm.
reading 100 queries a day. So believe me, to get my attention, you need a lot. And people might be thinking, wait, that's bad. No, it's not. Because readers of all the gatekeepers in publishing, okay, you might think to yourself, who's the biggest gatekeeper in publishing? Is it agents? Is it editors? Is it publicists? Is it salespeople? Is it booksellers? No, readers. Readers are the biggest gatekeepers in publishing because readers are ruthless. To get someone to really buy a book, read a book, spend their time reading a book. And as agents, because we are flooded with material, we are actually primed to know what works and doesn't. We see drafts. Most readers who are not in publishing don't see drafts. They don't know what a draft looks like. A good agent can spot potential. Anyone can spot delivery. Your reader, you know what delivery looks like. A good agent spots potential. We spot the almost there. You just need 10% more and you'll be there. And I think it comes from that. I think it comes from that instinct for storytelling. How about you?
Yeah, it's a great answer. I was nodding along as you were talking. I think this I feel like I can only speak to my own experience in this case, and I hate making generalizations because I always think like we're just one podcast in this business. There's all these other people that do it other ways. My undergrad education was in English language and literature, so my job as a student was to analyze fiction, discuss fiction, think about it in a creative context and its context within the world. Then I went off to publishing school where I learned everything from project management to sales to rights, et cetera, et cetera. So I am somebody that technically has like the education to do this job, but nobody ever taught me how to edit. Like nobody teaches you this. And even to agent, it was by witnessing other people do this job. And so the
Mhm,
editorial
mhm,
piece, I did take a creative writing class in undergrad. I took two with a published poet, and she was incredible and very involved in the kind of literary scene in Kingston and Toronto. Carolyn Smart, she's phenomenal. Shout out to Queen's Creative Writing. And from there, it was really just about asking questions, about listening, about, knowing what the assignment was. And I think from that very early age, I realized that I was never going to be a writer. I realized that I could spot, who I thought was more talented than other people. And when you are in a creative writing environment like that in undergrad or in any other capacity, you can see the people that are writing for the sake of writing for the sake of their own ego. And from an early age, I could see I was much more drawn to the people that could tell a story and write a story in a way that was the most accessible. I only cared about the most accessible stories. And so fast forward to me working in publishing, I work on commercial fiction, on market fiction. I don't work on experimental literary fiction. So I have always thought about the accessibility side of things. And so I have always
mhm.
edited towards accessibility in the sense of making sure that it is readable to the most amount of people. And so that is how I always tell my clients that I'm going to edit. I always say, I'm going to edit as if I'm a reader. I'm going to edit for the reader. I'm going to edit for the
Mhm,
market. And I don't mean we have to write to the market. I mean, I'm going to edit to the market. So you write how
mhm,
you're going to write. And I am going to make sure that the way that I'm going to direct you with my developmental edits, with my structural edits, is going to be for the sake of storytelling for the most amount of people. And again, that's
mhm.
just how I've developed my own skills.
Yeah, and you're so right. Like, your job at the end of the day is to make sure that your client's work can reach as many readers as possible, and
Mm-hmm.
that is what an author who can succeed in publishing wants. Like, anyone listening going, "Oh, no, that's not what I want." Yes, it is. It better be, because you want readership. If you were just writing for yourself, then why would you be querying, you know? Like, anyone can write for themselves, and that's awesome. That is a wonderful thing. Please write for yourself. Keep a journal. It'll be awesome. You will have fun. But if you're writing as a career, then your job is to find your audience.
Mm-hmm.
And having that sensibility. I mean, we've worked together in projects for years. Like, I've seen you do it. I've seen you read a story and be like, this is what I like, and this is what I think readers are gonna like. And I think that's a very special thing. It's about knowing the audience. It's about having that. I mean, this is your line, Carly. Like, every agent is a mix between business and creative. And whether it's 60-40, 50-50, whatever, you find the agent that's best for you. And when was it Eve? I think it was Eve, the person who asked this question. When you're asking this, I get it. I think that in the same way that a coach doesn't have to have been a player or the best player to know how to coach, it's sort of the